In a recent video, we told the story of Marka Ragnos, one of the last great Dark Lords of the First Sith Empire. We spoke of how Ragnos ruled with an iron fist, crushing all who opposed him and bringing about the golden age of the Sith. But 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, Marka Ragnos died, creating a huge power vacuum. Two Sith Lords sought to take Ragnos' place, Naga Sadow and Ludo Kresh. Both ended up proclaiming themselves Dark Lord of the Sith, but both of their reigns were short. In this video, we'll be telling the story of these two fierce rivals and how they brought down the Sith Empire.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Let's revisit the reign of Marka Ragnos for a moment. From 5100 to 5000 BBY, Marka Ragnos ruled the Sith Empire with an iron fist, putting an end to centuries of Sith infighting caused by stagnation. The Sith Empire had long run out of systems to conquer, but Ragnos was able to maintain stability through political manipulation. By the end of his reign, the Empire was prosperous, ruled by a council of some of the greatest Sith Lords seen in centuries. Aside from Marka Ragnos himself, other powerful Sith Lords of the day included Simus, a disembodied head in a jar kept alive through dark side power, Naga Sadow, a powerful sorcerer directly descended from the original Sith Lords, and Ludo Kresh, a staunch traditionalist. After Ragnos' death in 5000 BBY, the Sith Empire stood at a crossroads. One faction of the Sith Lords, led by Ludo Kresh, sought to maintain what Ragnos had built and were wary of change within the Empire. But another faction, led by the ambitious Naga Sadow, wanted the Sith Empire to start expanding again. Sadow and Kresh's differing views sparked a bitter rivalry, one that only worsened when Ragnos died. Without question, the two were the most powerful Sith in the Empire, but it was anyone's guess which of them would ultimately become the Dark Lord. The struggle between Kresh and Sadow began before Ragnos' body was even laid to rest. On the day of the Dark Lord's funeral, Sadow was delayed on his way to Korriban, and so Kresh began the funeral without him, leading the procession to Ragnos' tomb in the Valley of the Dark Lords. Sadow arrived in the middle of the funeral, and the peace between him and Kresh barely lasted long enough for the ceremony to be completed. Just a few moments after the tomb door was sealed, Sadow and Kresh drew their swords and fought a bitter battle for the title of Dark Lord. Their duel, however, was interrupted by the sudden appearance of Marka Ragnos' spectre. The dead Dark Lord warned his would-be successors that a crucial moment was at hand for the Sith, and that the Empire would have to be careful and choose its battles well if it were to survive. He reminded the assembled Sith of their history, of the conquest of the Sith Empire of old, and then faded with the final warning. Both Sadow and Kresh interpreted Ragnos' warning to be an endorsement of their plan, naturally. They would have soon begun fighting again were it not for the unexpected arrival of a starship in Korriban's ashen skies, a vessel from the Galactic Republic. The ship was Starbreaker 12, and aboard were a pair of young Jedi Hyperspace scouts, Gav and Jory Daragon. The siblings were from Sinagar, the capital of the Koros system in the Deep Core. Though the 7 worlds of their home system had prospered after Empress Teta unified them, the Daragons siblings were down on their luck and had attempted one last blind jump in a hope to strike it rich. Implausibly, and with the help of latent force abilities, they had managed to jump from the Deep Core all the way to Korriban, a straight shot across half the galaxy. The Sith had the Daragons captured and their ship impounded, bringing both to the Sith Citadel on Ziost. Sadow and Kresh momentarily put aside their differences while the Sith Council pondered what the arrival of the Republic ship could mean. Kresh and most of the Sith Lords were weary of the Daragons, fearing the siblings were the precursor for a full Republic invasion of the Sith Empire. Kresh urged the other Sith Lords to fortify their worlds and prepare to defend themselves, but where Ludo Kresh saw a threat, Naga Sadow saw an opportunity. He hoped the Daragons could be manipulated into leading the Sith back to the Republic, opening up scores of new worlds to conquer. The Sith Council sided with Kresh over Sadow, voting to execute the Daragons and eliminate any trace of them. Sadow wasn't willing to let his chance to expand the Sith Empire go to waste that easily, however. In the strictest secrecy, he had his agents steal a pair of phase pulse blasters from the Starbreaker 12, which he and his most trusted Masasai warriors used to slaughter the guards in the dungeons of the Sith Citadel and free the Daragons. After ordering the Massassi to escort the Daragons to his personal fortress, Sadow murdered Lord Simus and planted the Republic blasters at the scene. Naturally, the Sith Council interpreted the raid as a Republic attack. Sadow exploited their outrage and shock over the death of Lord Simus to win a majority of the Sith Lords to his side. Over the objections of Ludo Kresh, Naga Sadow was proclaimed Dark Lord of the Sith. Immediately, he and his most loyal Sith Lords began preparing their armies for an all-out assault on the Republic. In secret, Sadow began training Gav Daragon as his apprentice at his secret stronghold on the dark side of Kar Delba, the moon of Kar Shian, where Jory was being held. He sent his Massassi to steal the Starbreaker 12 and bring it to Kar Shian, making sure that he left proof of his involvement at the scene for Ludo Kresh to find. Upon learning that Sadow's warriors had stolen the Republic's ship, Ludo Kresh met with Horak Mul and Dor Galram, two Sith Lords loyal to him, and conspired with them to attack Sadow's fortress on Kar Shian. The three Sith Lords amassed their armies and bombarded Sadow's fortress from the air. As the fortress crumbled around them, Naga Sadow released Jory Daragon and urged her to flee in the Starbreaker 12. Jory complied, not knowing that Sadow's agents had affixed a homing beacon to the vessel. As Jory Daragon fled back to the Koros system, Naga Sadow called forth the fleet he had hidden on the dark side of Kar Delba, catching Ludo Kresh's forces by surprise. As the battle was joined, Sadow executed the final step of his plan. Unlike most Sith Lords, who treated the Massassi no better than slaves, Sadow had always treated his warriors with respect, and in doing so, he had earned the loyalty of the whole warrior caste. On his command, the Massassi aboard Kresh's ships rose up and turned on their lords, killing Horak Mul and Dor Galram. The Massassi took over their vessels and fired on Ludo Kresh's flagship, destroying it. With his enemy apparently vanquished, Naga Sadow assembled his fleet and followed the Starbreaker 12 back to the Republic, beginning the Great Hyperspace War. Without warning, a Sith armada poured into the Koros system, attacking all 7 of Emperor Tita's worlds. Sadow sent Gav Daragon, who had quickly begun to master the Sith ways, to lead the assault on Sinagar, while the bulk of the Sith fleet moved down the Koros trunk line to attack Coruscant itself. The vast Sith fleet overwhelmed Republic forces at the galactic capital, allowing Sith flotillas to move on from Coruscant and attack Metalos, Shorkin, and Basilisk. The Sith armies seemed endless, but Empress Teta, with the help of Jedi Master Uru, the Jedi Knight Udan and newly anointed Jedi apprentice Jory Daragon, managed to fend them off at Kirek in the Koros system, and from there, joined the battle above Sinagar. There, Jory encountered her brother Gav as he led the Sith forces through the city and managed to show him the error of his ways. Gav fled back to his ship and then his master. Above the red supergiant Primus Golud, Sadow had been coordinating the entire assault from the Meditation Sphere. This vessel had allowed him to create powerful illusions on the beleaguered Republic worlds, making Sith forces seem much larger than they were. But as Empress Tita drove the Sith from the Koros system, Gav returned to Primus Golud and fired on Sadow's mothership, breaking the Dark Lord's concentration. This caused the illusions on Coruscant and the other core worlds to vanish, allowing Republic forces to trounce the attacking Sith. With his forces in disarray, Sadow ordered the Sith to fall back on Primus Golud, but a Republic fleet, led by Empress Teta, followed them there. Knowing that his tattered fleet couldn't win a fight with Tita's, Sadow fled to his battleship, the Corsair, and used an arcane Sith weapon aboard it to destabilize Primus Golud. Sadow used this as cover to flee back to Korriban with what ships he had left, leaving Gav Daragon to die. Furious over this betrayal, Gav sent Tita's ships over Korriban's coordinates, urging them to follow Sadow before Primus Golud went supernova. Naga Sadow fled back to Korriban in disgrace, planning to regroup and prepare for a Republic counterattack. But above Korriban, he found a fleet of ships waiting for him. As it turned out, Ludo Kresh had survived the betrayal at Kar Shian and had taken over the Sith Empire in Sadow's absence, proclaiming himself the true Dark Lord of the Sith. As Sadow's fleet returned from the core, Kresh's ships opened fire. Even with the Sith Empire under grave threat, Sadow and Kresh fought each other bitterly, wasting what remained of the Sith fleet in one last battle. During the battle, Sadow ordered one of his damaged battleships to ram into Kresh's flagship, destroying both vessels. At last, Ludo Kresh was killed, but Sadow had no time to revel in his victory. Empress Teta and the Republic Navy arrived and tore into the remaining Sith warships, intent on ending the threat of the Sith Empire. Ordering the Massassi to cover him, Sadow fled the system aboard the Corsair, fleeing far beyond the borders of the Sith Empire. At Korriban, Empress Teta and the Republic Navy wiped out the last of the Sith fleet, ending the Great Hyperspace War with a decisive Republic victory. But the Republic campaign didn't end there. Over the course of the next 2 years, the Republic military and the Jedi Order rampaged across Sith space on the orders of Supreme Chancellor Pultimo, who wanted the entire Sith Empire ground to dust. The Sith fought to the last, with all Sith, from priest to slave, expected to die defending the ruins of the Empire. By the time the campaign was over, every last planet in the Sith Empire had been completely depopulated, allowing the Republic to declare victory. Most of the Sith fought to the death or committed ritual suicide, though unbeknownst to the Jedi, several bands of survivors had fled to parts unknown. Both Ludo Kresh and Naga Sadow were given tombs in the Valley of the Dark Lords during the Sith Empire's final days. Naga Sadow had long ago claimed a tomb in the valley for his own, an ancient system of caverns that, unbeknownst to all but a few, contained an ancient star map. He was never interred there, however. Aside from the map, all the tomb contained was a monument. What was left of Ludo Kresh, meanwhile, was interred in a secret tomb on Korriban's Shirak Caves. This tomb lay at the heart of a powerful Force nexus that showed trespassers visions of their past, present, and future. As his rival rotted in the bowels of Korriban, Naga Sadow and his Massassi followers landed on the jungle moon of Yavin 4. There, Sadow planned to wait in exile for the dark side to rise again, ordering the Massassi to build temples in the jungle in the meantime, concealing Sadow's ship and the Sith artifacts he'd salvaged. Naga Sadow waited patiently on Yavin 4 for hundreds of years until the arrival of Friedan Nad, a dark Jedi seeking to learn the Sith ways. Sadow trained Nad only for the dark Jedi to betray and kill him. Naga Sadow died as he had lived, with treachery. Naga Sadow and Ludo Kresh hated each other more than the Jedi, and their rivalry destroyed the Sith Empire. But what do you think? We've covered all the major Dark Lords from the time of the first Sith Empire now, but are there others you'd like us to talk about? Please feel free to post your thoughts in the comment section below. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.